One of the most complex issues with managing emotions is with the suppressed parts, especially with anger. Fortunately, there is a very easy exercise we can easily learn, and you'll do this with this video, and it's safe. You can do it at home, and you just need 15 minutes a day to practice it. And I also show you what are any resistances you can encounter and how to overcome these resistances. So I hope you will enjoy this video. This exercise is called energy cleansing, or if we do a more literal translation from Italian, it's energy wash. And it was first invented by Dr. Nader Butto and later simplified and, according to many people, even improved by Oscar Citro, the author of The New Era of Medicine. And this simplified version is the one that I'll present here to you, combined with all the experience I've gathered in this period. One experience that I can share with you is I had an issue for 15 years with a strong contraction, a sort of a punch that woke me up every morning between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And I couldn't get back to sleep anymore. And it was terrible. And I tried all the techniques possible. I could relax again, but I couldn't fall asleep again. I think the adrenaline release or the cortisol release was too strong. I even flew to other countries to psychotherapists. I did anything I could until I found out about this exercise, and after 1 week of practice, I got rid of this issue forever. And I was thrilled about this, really thrilled, and it's such a relief for me. And then later on, after I would say about a month and a half of this practice, I released also I had a strong anger that was there since my gestation, so while I was in mother's womb. I found this out through the muscular kinesiological test. So that was a big one too, and also other issues with some very easy techniques that I will also show you in this video. So I got amazing results so easily and so quickly, and I'm really eager to hear about your stories. The main emotion that energy cleansing gets rid of and releases is anger. Anger, however, is not the root emotion we have. Usually it is used to cover other emotions beneath, or it protects us from fear. That means that sometimes it can happen that when you release anger, you might also get in contact with other emotion, and that's a very positive thing. Don't worry about that. So if it happens, just go through the emotions, be present, accept them, don't criticize or judge them or repress them again, just be there with them. However, this may not be a case for many people. It wasn't for me. So basically you can also have benefits not feeling anything at all, no emotion. You might feel only physical contractions, and you focus on those contractions and you have the same benefits. So don't focus on, do I feel emotions or not? The main thing is at the end of the exercise you feel relief, physical relief, emotional relief. So let's dive in and look at the exercise practically. This exercise is done on the floor. I strongly recommend to do it on a mat, not on the bed, because your feet will start to slide and it won't be stable. Now, you can also put here if you want a cushion. It's not mandatory. I prefer having a cushion here, a pillow. The main goal is that you reach a point where your legs start to shake a bit. Why? You certainly notice that when we have strong fear, you start to shake, right? Now, why is that? Because the nervous system is, let's say it's a pathway where our emotions communicate and they go through our body. They are connected with our mind and everything. So in order to release anger, which is the main goal of this exercise, it's going to have to use the same system. That's the nervous system. So when we spontaneously start to shake our legs, we start to release anger through or congested energy through those through our legs or through these to the nervous system, and energy goes out of our body. So this is the main goal. You also, Oscar Citro, also the author of that book I told you before, he also found out that epilepsy, all cases of epilepsy which have very strong tremors, right, are all due to so much suppressed anger. So this is basically a natural process. There is nothing that we're forcing on ourselves. We're just letting go and let the intelligence of our body to do the healing. So the next thing you have to do is we put up our feet, put them together, the heels together, here apart, okay? And how far from our butt, basically it's not too close like this, not too far. It has to be somewhere in the middle, I would say 30 centimeters, 25, okay? From our butt. And then how you have to keep the legs a bit open. Now how much? All down till the end, it's not okay. You won't get any tremors like this, not even too close together. It has to be somewhere in the middle, okay? And then the first exercise you start is breathing. And the breathing should be circular. So circular breathing means that when you breathe in, you use all of your body as much as you can, your stomach, in your lungs, and then you release. And you do this in and out without stopping. You don't pause when you exhale or when you inhale. There is just ongoing breathing process. That's circular breathing, okay? What's important is that many people which are very, have many emotions here bottled up, they cannot use this part of the body to breathe like this. Okay? This part goes up and down naturally. I was so, I had so many anger issues and bottled up emotions. When I was trying to use this part to breathe, it was shaking. So if you're like me, I don't suggest that you force yourself in this circular breathing like that. Just breathe as you can. The important is that it's circular, because if you will force yourself by doing the right way, trying to breathe the right way, you will be too focused on that and you won't be spontaneous. You will be resisting, and the tremors, the shaking won't start in the legs. Okay? So the first thing is you close your eyes and you start breathing like that. And this breathing can last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even 15 minutes before you start shaking. Some of you won't even start shaking the first times. It's okay. It means there's a lot of resistance there, okay? You just have to be constant, do it every day, and you'll get there for sure. Don't worry. Now, while you're doing this breathing, what you can do then is you can try to move slightly the position of your legs, because maybe with the position you've chosen before is not the ideal one to start the process of shaking. So you move them a little bit more inside or out towards the outside. Just try until you find that point. It might help you, okay? So don't be fixed at that point all the time, be relaxed and try to, maybe a few seconds, 10 seconds, 20, just try to move and find another position. The other thing that you do while you're breathing circularly and you have your legs like that is you visualize light, pure light coming in, and out of your body goes congested energy that can be black or any other color. It's not white anymore. You can visualize that it goes inside one chakra, then the second, the third, the fourth, till you all fill with light and then it all goes out. Or you can do it all at once in all your body. It's a bit of your choice. I don't see big differences. It also can be only specific on a certain energy point or a certain point in your body you feel it needs more energy. You can also do that. Now, the important part here is when you add the visualization and you notice that your circular breathing stops, it's not fluent anymore, that's not okay. It means that you're resisting, you're concentrating too hard. So what you need to do there, I suggest that you let go of this visualization, don't do it anymore, because it's more important that your breathing is circular. So after you're doing this for some time and you're practicing, and you can then try to add again later on the visualization, and then you'll be able to do it, okay? So the important is do not become too stressed out because of these visualizations. Just be with the breathing and listen to your body and to your feelings and let go. Now, while you're trembling, what is good to do is you connect to an event in your life where you got angry or there was some emotional distress and you feel it still inside of you. You connect with that part and you will notice that the trembling may get even stronger. That's because it's getting released. That's a very good sign. It can also happen that you connect with an event and nothing happens. Now that's because probably you're not at that point yet where you have a connection with that part of yourself. So there's a resistance. I want to remind you this is a process, an ongoing process, so be patient with yourself. And so that's something you can do. But it's not mandatory. Because at the end what's important that when you finish your trembling, that you feel more relaxed, that you let go of something, you're more light inside of you. Okay? Now the other part is important is don't get fixed on only trembling on your legs. Just allow that anything else starts shaking of you. It can be your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your head. It can be your spinal cord. It can even be, all this part of your body. What I do sometimes, it happens, my body just lifts itself up here, and I tremble like this. And I think because as I have a slight lordosis here, after being so much time like this, I get some aches here, some back aches, and the body by itself, it lifts itself up, it lifts the hips, and it just trembles like this. Sometimes it even goes down like this, and it's just let go. Don't worry if anything is wrong. Am I doing it right? Just follow your body, your feelings, okay? So this is basically it. So I will now return to some of the theories and why we resist to certain processes and why the tremors don't start, okay? Energy cleansing is practiced, let's say about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you do some more specific work on a certain events, emotions that you feel or know you have inside of you, it can even get up to half an hour, but 10, 15 minutes is already great and more than enough. Now, this technique has to be done until you feel a energy release. But not only at the end of every exercise, every time you practice it, but on a long term, when you do it for weeks or months, you feel that you don't have any more of those negative reactions to certain situations you had before, or you're not so depressed, or you don't have that contraction anymore, you're more happy, you feel lighter. It's something you will have to, find out by yourself. What you can do when you are doing the exercises, beside of going in contact with an event, an emotion, if you don't have any memories of any kind like I have, you can also feel just the contractions. I feel very well my physical contractions of certain, repressed emotions. So you can just feel the contraction and then go inside of that feeling and go through the trembling process. That also works very, very well. If we want to completely heal from an internal conflict, the energy wash will get rid of all the congested energy and the anger, but it's not enough to heal completely of something, because you need some more awareness about what happened, what are the beliefs, or at least what is the new belief I want to give to myself, so I can release all of the fear or the pain or the sadness, whatever I have inside of me, and let it go. So if I keep on, releasing with this technique, the anger, but I don't modify my beliefs or my relationship with my inner child, with my emotions, the healing won't be ever complete. So in order to do this, we need to change our relationship that our inner child had with their parents. We need to become a better parent ourselves with our inner child. So it becomes more of a psychological work, and so you need to have some experience about your mechanisms of the inner world, how do they work. But if you're interested in how this is done, which is not very complex, please let me know and I will create another video for this. So to recap this last part, if we want to have a complete healing experience, we need to learn how to accept ourselves, love ourselves totally, and most of all, in anger issues, we need to learn how to express our anger in the moment of need. Because if we don't do that, every time we suppress it again, we're, back to square one. We're at the beginning again. So you will always be forced to use this energy cleansing technique, but that's not the real solution. So keep in mind that, very important. Learn to express your anger. It will be easier after releasing it because you have more control over it. So have the courage to express yourself in this way. What if our legs never start shaking and you try and try and try and nothing? Now, the reason for this to happen is because there is a lack of a trustful relationship between our adult self and our emotional part, our inner child. Now, this happens because we usually have consciously or unconsciously a relationship towards ourselves which is quite judging. We criticize ourselves. We are not present to ourselves. We are distant. We don't feel our emotions. We run away even. So all of these ways of interacting or non-interacting with ourselves keep our inner child hurt, and therefore there is no intimate relationship. There is a resistance. There is a wall between you, and that wall is something that needs to be healed. Oscar Citro, the author of the book The New Era of Medicine, states that until you have your fourth chakra blocked, you cannot start trembling. Now, why that? Because the fourth chakra, let's say it's here, it's at the heart, of course, and the third chakra is your inner child, right? It's your solar plexus chakra, which is just below. And in the middle, you have the diaphragm, I think it's said in English. And basically, this is the separation, between the adult world and the emotional world and the instinct world. So if this part is here cut off, you cannot, with your adult self, you cannot through the exercise of energy cleansing, you cannot just let go of your emotions because there's no communication here. You need to heal this communication between these two chakras, that is between your adult self and your inner child, right? So if you want to do this, what I would suggest is to read the book of Oscar Citro. He will help you with very specific instructions how to do that. Now let's see with more details about some internal processes that I've learned that block the trembling, the shaking of the legs, that you may find interesting and helpful. One thing that I would suggest is to see this exercise as a spiritual growth path, something that it's ongoing, that you're in an ongoing, in a learning process. What process exactly? The process of letting go to your feelings, accepting the feelings and without controlling yourself. Basically, that's the essence of this exercise. And you cannot achieve that if you're, for example, wanting quick results, because that's a resistance, that's an intolerance you have towards yourself. And guess who suffers because of that? The inner child. And when the inner child feels that something is wrong because you're intolerant with yourself, because you want quicker results, it will be, contracted. So that's a resistance, and you won't get the shaking. There's no possibility. So being patient without a hurry is very important. See this as a long-term, as an ongoing process, and that will take you very far. You can just imagine, for example, when we feel a strong fear, what do we do? Usually, we block the breath. We block the breath. So usually people which have a lot of suppressed anger inside of them, when they do the circular breathing, they stop. They pause the breathing, the inhaling and inhaling and exhaling. They pause it spontaneously because it's a reaction, unconscious reaction to control emotions, to not let them go. So that's the resistance you're facing. So when you're going to do this process, you're going to learn to let go, and you will notice that your circular breathing becomes more spontaneous, more natural. That's a good sign that you're on the right path and getting better and better, and those tremors will very soon manifest. Another sign that we are letting go very well is when we notice that we are shaking in unexpected ways, and your mind just gets startled because you didn't expect that. And that can, you get afraid a bit of that, but that's okay. It's normal. Don't worry. And on the other side, you may also be very fascinated about the whole process. I also discovered a sabotage mechanism where the trembling I was doing was partially fake. Basically, I had a part that was faking the movements of my legs, making me believe I was doing everything right. But it was just a resistance. It was a way to not get into contact with my deeper feelings, my deeper angers. So that's something to keep into consideration if it happens to you. And why, no, not why, but how can we, remove this or, solve this resistance? Basically, you just stop the whole process. You stop the trembling, the shaking of the legs, and you start all over. And when you start again with the circular breathing and you observe your legs, when they start trembling again, be very careful if it's trembling spontaneously or it's, let's say, call it the fake part, okay, doing it. Now, how do you know the difference? You need some practice. Just observe, wait, and start trembling, and you will notice the difference between the two. One is spontaneous, one is not. And then go trembling again, tremble, shake, and then basically you stop again and do these intervals a few times. And you'll see that you'll get expert in this, and you'll understand very quickly what is the real thing and what is not. So doing this practice, as you see, is not difficult. However, an experienced operator of this energy cleansing technique may be useful because he may help you find quicker any resistances, what could you do better, if there's any sabotage mechanisms there. So this is something to keep in consideration. If you have any comments related to the video and experiences you want to share, please do so. I will be happy to read them and to comment them if possible. And if you have any questions also, they're very welcome, and I'll try to reply to them too. Thank you for listening.